Nature is already harsh, a place where every species has to hunt, run, or fight to survive. But even more terrifying than the sight of predators eating their prey is the moment when animals turn on themselves, biting themselves, swallowing parts of themselves, and even eating their own bodies. It sounds like behavior that goes against the laws of nature, but in the animal kingdom, the strangest things sometimes come from the instinct to survive. So what could possibly drive them to do something like that? Let us find out right now. First, we have to talk about shrimp and crabs. The phenomenon of shrimp and crabs eating themselves is actually a chain of biological reactions meant for survival and growth. The most common case happens after they molt. Because their hard outer shell cannot grow along with their body, shrimp and crabs are forced to shed the old shell and replace it with a new one. But right after molting, their new shell is still very soft and weak, which makes them vulnerable to predators or even attacks from their own kind. That is why they often eat their old shell to reabsorb minerals such as calcium and chitin, helping their new armor harden more quickly. In the wild, this is a practical way to recycle nutrients, helping them shorten the most vulnerable period after molting. Besides that, shrimp and crabs also have the ability to drop their own limbs, meaning they can deliberately leave behind a claw or a leg when they are attacked by an enemy or trapped. This is a defense mechanism that allows them to sacrifice part of their body in order to stay alive, and the lost part can gradually grow back through later molting cycles. Or, in extremely harsh conditions, especially when food is scarce, they may also eat the detached limbs to make use of one last source of nutrients and keep themselves alive. Number 2. Geckos and lizards. These animals are famous for their ability to drop their tails when they are in danger, especially when they are attacked by predators. This is a defense mechanism that helps them leave behind part of their body so they have a chance to escape. After the tail falls off, it can still keep moving reflexively for a short time, distracting the predator. What is especially interesting is that in some species of geckos or lizards, if the dropped tail is still there after the danger has passed, they may eat their own tail. The reason is that the tail contains fat and an important reserve of energy. Eating the tail helps them recover part of the nutrients they lost, while growing a new tail requires a lot of energy. So this behavior is not really strange, it is a practical survival strategy. They accept losing part of their body to save their life, then make use of that lost part as a source of energy that helps their body recover faster. Number 3. Sea squirts. This marine creature has an extremely strange way of eating itself. It can absorb its own primitive brain when it enters adulthood. When it is still a larva, a sea squirt looks like a tadpole, with a notochord, light-sensing organs, and a nervous system that helps it find a place to attach itself permanently. But once it finds a suitable surface, such as a coral reef, a rock wall, or the shell of another sea creature, it settles there and no longer needs to move. At that point, the sea squirt's body begins to consume the parts it no longer needs, such as its brain and other organs, and turns those parts into nutrients to develop its food filtering system and reproductive organs. So the sea squirt eats its own brain, because that is an energy-saving way to adapt to a fixed, attached lifestyle. Number 4. Tigers and bears. These are two animals that may bite off part of their own body when they are pushed into a life-or-death situation, usually when they are caught in a human snare or trap. When a leg is held tightly for too long, the trapped limb can suffer severe damage. Blood circulation becomes difficult, the body becomes exhausted, and the risk of infection keeps rising. So in a situation where there is almost no way out, the instinct to survive can force them to accept losing the trapped body part in order to escape. One case that has been mentioned involved a Sumatran tiger in Indonesia, where the animal was recorded with the lower part of its front leg missing after it was believed to have freed itself from a trap. Similarly, some bears, especially grizzly bears, have also been recorded losing toes or parts of a limb because of traps. This behavior is a last resort to stay alive. But even after they escape, the cost is still enormous, because a tiger or bear that loses a limb will face many difficulties: moving, hunting, defending itself, and surviving in the wild. Number 5. Snakes. This is one of the most famous cases when it comes to animals swallowing themselves. The most common cause is confusion related to body temperature and vision. Snakes are cold-blooded animals, meaning they cannot regulate their own body temperature and depend entirely on the surrounding environment. When the environment becomes too hot, a snake's body temperature rises, which can lead to disorientation. At that point, its metabolism can spike and create a strong feeling of hunger, making it more likely to attack and swallow anything moving near it, including its own tail. On top of that, if the smell of food accidentally gets on its tail, the snake may become even more convinced that it is a real meal and begin swallowing without realizing it is eating itself. What makes this even more serious is that a snake's teeth usually curve inward to hold prey in place, making it extremely difficult for the snake to let go once it has started swallowing. Once it begins swallowing its tail, the pain can make the snake panic even more and continue swallowing deeper as an unconscious defensive reflex. Without timely intervention, this behavior can lead to death from suffocation or severe internal damage. Number 6. Octopuses. Octopuses are among the most intelligent animals in the ocean, but under certain special conditions, they may bite and eat their own tentacles. The cause is usually related to three main factors: physical decline after reproduction, environmental stress, and disease-related disorders. After laying eggs, a female octopus enters the final stage of her life cycle. The optic gland changes hormone activity and metabolism in the body, causing her to stop eating, weaken quickly, and sometimes show self-injuring behavior, including biting her own tentacles. In addition, when kept in captivity in a cramped space, poor water quality, a lack of stimulation, or long-term stress, the octopus's complex nervous system can become disturbed. Because most of its neurons are located in the tentacles, problems in the connection between the brain and the tentacles may cause it to react abnormally to its own body. Some cases are also believed to be linked to infection or neurological disease, causing the octopus to lose control of its behavior and attack its own tentacles as if they were foreign objects. Number 7. Spiders. In some spider species, such as the desert spider Stegodipus lineatus or the spider Amaurobius ferox, the mother has an extremely unusual way of raising her young. She allows her own offspring to eat her body. After the eggs hatch, the mother spider may initially provide nutrients to her young through food that she secretes or regurgitates. But as the young spiders grow, the mother's body gradually becomes their final source of nutrition. In some species, before this stage, the mother's body has already gone through physiological changes, helping convert body tissues and fluids into an energy-rich food source for the young. The reason the mother spider does this is to increase the survival chances of the next generation. Newly hatched spiderlings are still weak, have difficulty hunting on their own, and can easily die without enough nutrition. By feeding on their mother's body, they can grow faster, store more energy, and have a higher chance of surviving once they leave the nest. Many studies show that feeding on the mother's body can help spiderlings gain weight faster, molt earlier, and have a larger body mass when they disperse. This is why spiders are placed in the final position. They do not just lose part of their body, because they almost use their entire life to feed the next generation. The natural world is not nearly as simple as it looks on the surface. A shell that gets eaten again, a tail that gets left behind, a brain that gets absorbed by its own body, or even a body that becomes food for the next generation. All of these are ways animals try to keep life going in the harshest possible conditions. And that is exactly what makes nature both terrifying and incredible. Which animal story surprised you the most? Leave a comment below, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel so we can keep exploring more unbelievable secrets from the animal kingdom together.